Yo, what is up, guys? So, as you read from the title, I am here reviewing the fifth episode of The Acolyte with a special guest, a very good friend of the channel that I will hopefully be able to get on this channel a lot more with you guys. And you can probably see him a little bit down in the corner there because of Discord. But just to bring him to full picture, you want to introduce yourself, Mike?
Yo, I'm Mike. Mike's Reviews and Analysis on YouTube. Um, and basically, I just review movies, TV shows, video games, music, anything that's really in the new like entertainment side of the internet. And yeah, whatever's popular, probably find something on my channel about it.
Okay, so since you haven't talked about The Acolyte yet, how about you do like your kind of thoughts on the series so far? Since I've obviously made a video talking about the first half of it, and then we'll just after that kind of just roll right into episode 5.
So, the show so far, I was intrigued by the premise and the trailer looked interesting to me. Um I didn't actually initially check it out when it first aired the first couple episodes, but I did catch up once episode 4 dropped, I believe. And episode 1 kind of had my interest. It kind of, like started off as a little bit of like a murder mystery. Um, the main character being introduced, and it's like her long lost, twin sister killed this Jedi, and I was like, yeah, this seems actually like really really cool, and that's what the initial trailers made it look like. It was going to be like, a Jedi murder mystery before, the Jedi Council was, a huge thing, and like the High Republic eras. And then episode 2 kind of killed that entire plot. Episode 3, there was a time jump, and then episode 4, just a whole lot of walking around in the woods, leading up to a pretty interesting climax, to say the least. And then now we have episode 5, which is arguably the best episode of the show this far. I'd agree to an extent. It is the best episode thus far. I won't say it's great particularly because I still don't enjoy, what the show has done with some of the Jedi lore and just, like the expanded ideas that have been, set up in the past. Specifically, some characters being just like created from the Force, even though it was set up, like it was established before that Anakin Skywalker is like the one and only, being that's been created by the Force, and then magically all of a sudden it's these two little kids that are witches, I guess, are made by the Force and everything like that. Episode 5, you know, aesthetically speaking, cool stuff, good action, um, cool villain, great looking villain actually. Love his design, his voice and shit like that. Is guy gal? I didn't really pick up what it
Pretty
was,
sure
but
it's a guy.
guy. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the design, cool shit. Um, action's pretty good. I don't really care for the characters all that much. There's not really a whole lot that's, there's not a whole lot of character depth. Um, but they're just kind of paper thin characters, and whatever. It's arguably, the action in the show is arguably the best, like lightsaber action that we've had since like the prequels. It's cool stuff, but story wise, character wise, just not enough that's been like invested in me thus far into the show. Um, but you know, it's a fine enough show thus far.
Yeah, I pretty much
Good.
agree with you on a lot of that stuff, especially with like the
Yeah.
lightsaber fight scenes, because they finally, I don't know if I can't remember exactly if this has been recanonized or not, but they did reintroduce Cordo. Um, I hope I do not butcher this.
Hmm.
Cordoosis. It is basically a metal. It's a very rare metal that in Legends, which has showed up a shit ton in Legends. due to the fact that it's a very rare metal and it has the unique ability of temporary disabling lightsabers, which is the metal that the Sith Lord
Right.
used to make his um, wrist guard and his helmet, which traditionally speaking, a lot of Jedi or Sith, even in Legends, would use, or even some bounty hunters would use like wrist guards or like straight up like full on like full arm armor to like kind of disable lightsabers and then do hand to hand combat. So that was really nice
Yeah.
to see. A lot of
That
the
is really cool. And I know in actual canon, they've also, canonized where it's the like Mandalorians still use Beskar and it kind of does the same thing, but I guess just not as effective as what
yeah,
is it, Corderosis
Beskar
or
is lightsaber resistant, but it doesn't make it
yeah.
malfunction though. That's
Right, okay.
specifically just something that Corrosis is the only like metal that can really do that because I think there's Corderosis, Beskar, and then like one other metal type that is
Mhm.
lightsaber resistant, but
It's
Corderosis
whatever yeah, it's whatever
is the only
metals
thing that
used
can
in the
actually disable a lightsaber temporarily.
right. It's well the other metal is probably whatever is used in those electric batons that the stormtroopers used in the Force Story,
Um,
probably. Yeah.
that or the electric batons they use in General Grievous's bodyguards.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, those
Yeah. Yep.
things. Whatever metal those
Yeah.
are made of, that I think that's the third metal. It's blanking off the top of my head. But yeah, so like I said, the implementation of that in the lightsaber scenes is really cool. Um Speaking of the lightsaber scenes, spoiler alert, obviously, for an episode 5 thing, but for the Jedi died. I thought that was fantastic just because it shows off the
Mhm.
power and it helps create stakes and it makes it feel like there's actual kind of like a threat there. And there was a part I really liked. It was kind of it pulled the same thing like Venom 2 did, where they obscured the camera when they decapitated the person. Because obviously, you remember that scene where he stabs someone and then forces someone into like the shish kebab.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah, right
remember
after
that.
that, he takes it out and then slices both their heads off. But obviously, the camera pans to the tree branch that's blocking it, the same way that like
Hmm.
in a lot of scenes in like Venom 2 where Carnage bites people's head off, they just like pan away from it or they pan to something
Yeah.
else where like you only see the shadow of it to keep it like the PG-13 rating and stuff like that. So,
Hmm.
I mean, that kind of sucks to see, but obviously, it's Disney, they're going to do stuff like that to try and keep ratings down and all that. But
Yeah.
that was super
It's
nice to
exactly
see.
why. Yeah. It's exactly why I was scared initially about Deadpool 3 going to Disney, but
That
I ain't
that's
really got to worry
that's
about that.
looking pretty decent because I mean Ryan Reynolds
Hmm.
put a lot of work into making sure that it would be a real Deadpool movie, which so far it looks like it, given from all the trailers. But
Exactly. Yeah.
so like, there's that lightsaber scene, and then besides for that, like that whole entire fight sequence is pretty good. And besides for that, honestly, there isn't really too much in terms of like redeeming qualities besides for it just being like kind of an all right episode. But being an all right episode is enough for it to be just better than a lot of the episodes.
Yeah.
So, and to kind of show that real quick, I'm going to show the Acolyte. Let's see, can I full screen this? Yes, I can. There we go. I don't know how well you guys will be able to see it, but shit. Oh yeah, that's right. I'll just add a quick source on here. Uh, where is it? There it is. Window capture. Boop. There we go. Make that big. Okay. You can still see it, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so obviously here, 6.6, which so far, all the discourse I've seen, 6.6 is obviously it's the highest in series, and most people have kind of agreed that it's kind of the best. But at the same time, a
Mhm.
lot of people have kind of said it's not really the best by much, which, I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
uh,
it's basically like just pulling the cleanest piece of shit out of a pile of crap. So,
yeah, because I mean,
you know.
number wise, a 1.3 increase from the original best is normally pretty decent, but
Mhm.
when you consider that the best episode so far was considered episode one, and it was barely considered, or it's basically just considered average. It's not really that great. And
Right.
obviously, we have the dreaded episode three that was an abysmal 3.5. So far, the first five episodes have an average of a 5-star rating, which, um, from my other videos, as you guys know, is just complete dog shit compared to the boys.
Mm.
And then
When
obviously
you're
the
talking
act,
about the worst episode of The Boys having what 7.7
yeah,
on IMDb.
I
Yeah.
think it actually, funny enough, I think those actually went down with more reviews coming in.
Oh.
I saw one of them went down from 7.4 to 7.3, and I think the other ones went down from like 7.7 to 7.6 or something like that.
Mm.
But
Gotcha.
it kind of makes sense though, because more reviews are kind of important. Because one of the reasons I like using IMDb is just because it feels like they shows don't get as much review bombed as they do on something like
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes here, where obviously you have 14% audience score, 83% tomato meter, and like the show is bad, but I don't think it's 14% bad.
No, it's like,
It's
yeah,
probably like a
I
40.
don't even, yeah, I don't even get like people saying it's the worst Star Wars thing ever when, there's been Book of Boba Fett, there's been Mandalorian season 3. I just thought
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
fine. It's like up there with, Book of Boba Fett. It's fine. I don't really care
yeah.
that much about it.
Yeah, honestly, I could see it. I can see the Book of Boba Fett comparison,
Hmm.
because like both those were kind of just fine. But even then, so
Exactly.
um obviously, like we said, this has kind of just been universally kind of agreed upon as like the new best episode, which,
Yeah.
I mean, there are some redeeming qualities to it, but overall, not a whole lot of redeeming qualities to that.
Yeah.
But so, besides for that, were there any, like, besides for the fight scene, was there really any other positives that you think you could add to it?
Um, I, I honestly, it's just like aesthetic wise, it's neat. I mean, I really like this new villain. The villain reveal, pretty neat. Uh,
Yeah,
Pretty menacing looking villain.
yeah, it
Um,
was, honestly, looking back at it, yeah, it was kind of obvious,
yeah.
especially with how
I,
quickly he showed up at the end of last episode, and it's like, how the fuck did he get there? But once you put,
yeah.
obviously once they did, it's like, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Which, I mean,
Hmm. Yeah, and I mean, it was like, it's the most obvious villain reveal in ever, but like it, it was better than, I mean, it's what you would expect from this kind of show. Just
yeah,
a pretty obvious reveal like that, but yeah, cool villain though, I will say. One of like the coolest like aesthetic wise looking villains, I'd say, in recent years.
yeah, and then
But
another interesting thing about him is that his lightsaber is very similar to Cal Kestis's, in the sense that when he twists the bottom off, he can make another like slightly dual lightsaber, which is just like small.
mhm,
Because obviously he used that to kill Mr. Soul, or not Master Soul's current Padawan, which was, I'm trying to remember her name. Oh, I remember
they're
the
all
act. I remember the
forgettable.
actor because she played X-23 in Logan, but oh, Jackie, yeah, Jackie. It's like Gecki, but I swear in the show they pronounced it like Jackie. Maybe I
Hmm,
just heard it wrong and they said Jackie and I just didn't hear that right. But yeah,
yeah.
so I mean, besides for those aspects of it that kind of make the villain like a little cool, in the sense that it reintroduces something into canon, and they gave him a lightsaber that really we've only seen in like a video game. Besides for that, honestly, everything else was kind of bad. I kind of want to just kind of roll over into that, because I do not understand what they are doing with. Oh my gosh, what's the name of the evil twin? Because I know the good twin's
Uh,
May.
May and Asha, I think. Is
Osha.
it Osha or Osha?
It's
Okay.
Osha. Yeah,
Osha, okay.
because isn't Osha also that isn't Osha also that one like federal safety thing?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I should remember that considering I had to deal with that a few times. But yeah, so I don't know what is going on with Osha because obviously last episode she made a complete 180 turn after finding out her sister was alive and is like, "Oh, I don't want to be evil." And she says that she plans on turning herself in, but then the moment she has the opportunity to turn herself in, she
She
just
doesn't.
starts running away and she starts fighting with Jackie or whatever.
Mhm.
So that didn't really make any
Yeah,
sense.
I don't
Um,
really know.
the plot twist at the end where she swapped places with her twin sister is also just weird because obviously that would imply that she's still going through with the evil plan, probably.
Hmm.
Which would then ask the question, why is she now like? Did she make another 180 turn after finding out her master knows that she was gonna betray him? And she's just gonna try and do it to like save her own hide. Which I mean,
It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like I said, I just don't really care about the characters. There's just not a whole lot of depth. And what they try to do with it, it just doesn't make any fucking sense.
yeah, no,
So, yeah. And I don't know.
yeah, because there's that, and then some of the one of the thing that I don't understand is why they didn't just kill the Sith then and there. Like, why did what was it? Clo no May. My God, these characters are so unrememberable. It's really hard for me to remember their names.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like
I've
it,
seen episode 5 twice, and I
we both
don't even
have.
remember exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean,
I was lucky to
normally,
remember
yeah.
Osha.
I mean, normally I try to watch episodes that I review twice, but obviously, when I wanted to get the first four done, I didn't really have time to rewatch the first four twice. But like,
Hmm.
yeah, so many of them just the character names are just kind of very unrememberable just because
Yeah.
the characters are unmemorable. And I understand how May stops Soul from killing the Sith, especially after uh she literally watched him break her childhood friend's neck at the Jedi Temple, right? Like they established that like they're friends. She watches him like break his neck and like kill like three other Jedi, but like no, this isn't the Jedi way to kill a Sith Lord who very clearly is like, yeah, I'm going to kill you all because I can't let you know I exist. So instead, they try and let a bunch of bugs kill him, which makes absolutely no sense. Like,
Yeah. Sounds like an Ewok way of killing people.
yeah, but at least Ewoks have actual sentience, though.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
they have like a full on society and they can make actual like tools. At least with that, like, you have kind of some like cope out ability or whatever, just because they are like
Hmm.
actual sentient beings with thumbs that can make tools and stuff. But
Yeah.
also, Ewoks just had to deal with stormtroopers. They weren't tasked with killing a Sith Lord who can use the Force and has like
Yeah.
a makeshift dual lightsaber. Like as soon as I saw
Yeah.
them do that with the bugs, I'm like, he's gonna survive this, and it's gonna be the stupidest shit ever because they should have just killed him there, and Soul would have been
Exactly.
100% justified there. But for some reason, May just stopped him, and it's just
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
why? Like why would you make that decision? That makes no fucking sense.
It sounds exactly like Fast and Furious, just like no family.
Yeah, that was so fucking stupid. And then I'm trying to remember through like just the other events that happened because I mean the fight kind of separated them. And then after that whole situation, Soul got stunned, and then that's obviously when they had the little fight, and then they ended up doing this the switcheroo. But I don't know. I mean, it's also weird to think that like I guess maybe it'll just take a little bit for Soul to recognize that they've swapped because I mean he did get stunned. He's probably a little disoriented, but
Mhm.
I mean I wonder how long it'll take him because if you're a master of the Force, you think you'd recognize like be able to sense your old Padawan and all that.
Mhm.
And obviously, because they did swap, the Sith is now with May, and we'll have to see what happens with that because obviously he puts his cloak around her, and it kind of leaves a lot to question about what's going to happen. So, I mean, the only way I could really think that this is going to go is that May, or not May, Osha is going to try and play off as May, so that way she can be excused of her crimes. But then obviously, Soul knows about May's tattoo, so that will probably end up backfiring on her. But then I wonder if um, Osha's plan to basically steal May's identity will anger May enough to like take up arms, or maybe plan with the Sith. But I also just don't see that happening just because of how much of a morally good character May has shown to be.
Right, yeah. Honestly, it just seems like this show has repeatedly written itself into a corner. I
Yeah,
It's just like there's so many plot points that could have just made like this entire show, but they basically just like rushed through it like it was, like it was just like a piece of paper, like it was that thin. And I don't even understand like why, because this episode right here, that could have been a decent, finale. It could have been a decent, like red carpet like pull reveal, like red curtain reveal. It's like this is the villain. We're taking him out now, and then like the entire rest of the show was just you know May dealing with OSHA, or yeah, May dealing with OSHA, killing this Jedi and trying to like being on the run and everything because everyone thinks that she murdered him. And it's just like that would have been a cool enough show. That I think just doing like a fugitive Jedi thing that would have been neat. And then they just kind of just wrote themselves into a corner and then pulled themselves out doing the weirdest shit possible, and then once again did it. And I don't even understand it, why the show's still going on at this point.
yeah, no, I
But
mean, I'm pretty sure there was news about it getting canceled, but I'm not sure if that's a rumor or not.
oh geez, it probably was just a rumor at this point. I don't.
I
I
mean, I
mean,
wouldn't be
I doubt they're going
surprised,
season
but
two then. Yeah,
I mean, the only
I
other
wouldn't be
really,
surprised.
yeah,
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it would get canceled because of the terrible reviews. But like, uh, it's probably just a rumor because everyone fucking hates the show. They're not gonna do a season two. I can guarantee that.
yeah,
But
no, there's no way.
yeah,
I mean, even if it's not confirmed, it's pretty much just inevitable.
yeah,
Because in terms of other information that they give us in this episode, the only other really interesting thing is that Osha implies that the death of the witches wasn't from her lighting her sister's room on fire.
yeah,
Because she implies that basically, or she pretty much has been kind of implying for the past few episodes that like the Jedi have had a hand in their deaths. which obviously we'll have to wait for the later reveals. But I don't know. I mean,
Right.
it would kind of make sense because it'd feel weird for like a fire to kill all of them, especially when like none of their bodies were really burned. But then,
Mhm.
like when you watch that scene, there's no real like. It's weird because they're all like just dead in the same area, and none of them have any
Yeah.
like clear lightsaber marks or anything. So I don't know. That whole entire scene with episode 3 was just weird when they died because they're all
Yeah.
just kind of dead, and there was just like no clues onto how they died. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Very
So
very weird.
yeah. So like that's the only real thing that I guess that's another thing that could be interesting is just the implication that the Jedi had something to do directly with their death. But even with that, it's just kind of things we just have to kind of like guess and just wait to watch on.
Yeah.
Because
See how they write themselves out of the corner this time.
yeah, no, because I don't know, man. Like I'm still just stuck on the main thought I had for the first 4 episodes, which is just why, like, why have your character make a complete 180 turn, then in this episode make a 180 turn back? Is she just trying
Yeah.
to like? Is she like it? Is she trying to like? Is she actually going to try and be good, or is she just saying that to try and manipulate her way out of a situation? Which I think it's probably just her being a sociopath. Because, like I said in my last video, if you lock your sibling in a room and then light them on fire, or light the room on fire with the intention of killing them to stop them
Yeah.
from leaving, I think you kind of have some problems there.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so like you have that, you have the fact that Soul was within every right to kill the Sith then and there, and for some reason May's like, no, you can't do this, and then they, for some reason, think it's less cruel to cut off his head with a lightsaber than it is to just let him get eaten alive by a bunch of beetles, which he would obviously go to survive because he killed 4 Jedi in combat.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
I just don't know like why they make everyone so stupid in this series. And then obviously they do the switcheroo, which I mean you can make arguments on why maybe Soul doesn't immediately recognize the fact that it's not May, but we also can't really talk about that too much in depth until we see episode 6 and see
Right.
how far May goes pretending to be um OSHA, because obviously we saw in like what was it, episode 2, where May was pretending to be OSHA and she kind of got found out pretty quickly. So
Yeah.
yeah, man, I don't know. So yeah, obviously I think it's the best of the series so far, but that's not saying much.
I was about to say he's not saying a whole lot
Yeah.
at all.
Any other final conclusions you want to talk about?
I think basically you hit every point I would say about it. It's kind of just and like I said, it just keeps writing itself into a corner at this point. We've gotten to the point where this Sith is probably gonna end up alive somehow, and they're gonna have to fight him again around the finale or next episode, and then do the same shit again.
Yeah, well,
So,
I mean, yeah, he did survive this episode, and then I guess we'll have to wait and see. Because I mean, there's only gonna be like 3 episodes left, so it's not.
mhm,
There is time for him to like kind of avoid them, but it's also just another thing where it's
yeah,
like, why put him in a situation where he should have died? Like, if he fought them and escaped, that's one thing, but putting him in a
mhm,
situation where Soul was right there, about to kill him, and then you make your like lawful good, like stereotypically, good person with like the correct, like the moral value person, be like, no, you can't do that, that's wrong, and then try and get him eaten alive by beetles, which just like
That's
again,
even more fucked up, but
yeah, like I
whatever.
don't understand how like this morally good person thinks that like trying to let someone get eaten alive by beetles is somehow better than just straight up killing them with a lightsaber. Because
Yeah.
Soul is just gonna decapitate him then and there. That would have been a quick, painless, I think, painless death for the most part, just because that would have been instant.
Hmm.
But instead, you risk leaving him alive and letting him get eaten alive by beetles, and of course, he survives. So, oh my gosh, there's, I don't know. There might be some things I'm missing from this episode just because of how stupid that moment was and just some of the other
The logic
moments.
of the
But
show, the logic of the show in general is just kaput.
yeah,
Out the
no,
fucking.
it is just so hard to try and even properly like judge or even see what they're trying to do because the
Exactly.
story isn't there and then they make so many dumb decisions. It's like, I don't know. So, I mean, you just have to see what they're going to do because like it's hard to guess what they're going to do just because it's so stupid. You can't possibly think of like what they're actually going to do.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just like
Like,
so beyond what someone would actually think to do the shit is. I don't know.
yeah,
Whatever.
it's so yeah, that is our thoughts on this week's episode. Um, we might have
Allegedly.
Mike back on for next week. I'll have to check with his schedule and whether or not if he wants to continue doing these for the last few episodes. And then, like you said in the or wait, did you say that in the beginning that you were planning on doing an overall season review,
Probably just like a short review, just
short
depending
review?
on how I feel about it. If it ends up being like anything interesting by the end to just like actually go on a tangent about to do a full video review, that might happen. Not really sure though, but yeah.
Okay. And then before we head out here, do you want to quickly shout out your socials and your YouTube again?
Yep. All right. So YouTube, Max Reviews and Analysis. Basically, you can find me like anywhere on social media, Letterboxd, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, you name it. I'm probably there. So,
Those are thoughts on the Acolyte episode 5. And let me guys know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you want to see more from me and some of the other stuff I will be covering, just hit the subscribe button, notification bell. You guys already know what to do. But before we head out of here, I just want to say thank you to all the people who are already subscribed. Thank you for being part of the posse and have a good rest of your day.